What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Check this out, man. I want to get straight into it. As y'all know, or may not know, but if you don't know, I'm about to tell you. Donald Trump had his first campaign rally of this election season. He started it off in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And much to the dismay of him and his administration, the attendance was very, very low. And I won't say it's very, very low. They had a nice crowd, but it wasn't the type of crowd that they had anticipated or hoped for. So, with that, Trump was not happy. He was hot. And the media who opposed Trump, they're eating it alive. So, let's talk about the two sides of the situation. People who opposed Donald Trump, they have their view of why it was low, and Trump and his administration have their view. And the eyes of his opposition, they say, well, you know what? People are tired of his divisiveness. They're tired of his racist rhetoric. His approval rating is low, and that's a fact. And people are just tired of it. Mixed in with the fact that COVID-19 probably played a role as well, as people didn't want to be so quick to go out and be in close proximity in an enclosed place with a lot of other people, some with masks, some without masks. So a lot of people may have stayed home even though they were Trump supporters. So that's one side of it. Trump's side of it is that it was the media and their fake news that deterred people from coming out. It was the protesters outside who he referred to as bad people doing some very bad things, though he never said what those bad things were. And the one that got me, he said it was the people on TikTok that had went out and bought tickets and with no intention of actually attending the event. They just bought up the tickets in order to ensure that the stadium or the arena would be empty in large parts. And it was empty. You could visibly see waves of open seats. There was an overflow section that was supposed to be available, and Trump was supposed to come out and speak to those people. They didn't have hardly anybody in that overflow section, so he canceled that part of the rally. And he's attributed a lot of that to the people on TikTok. Now, I don't know. Educate me. If the people on TikTok did that and y'all can prove it, then fine. It is what it is. But here's the thing. I don't agree with him saying that it was the media and what he famously refers to as fake news, simply because of the fact that he's been at odds with mainstream media who are not proponents of him since day one of him being immersed into the political scene. And they've always spoken against him, and it's never stopped his rallies from being full and packed. Never. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that it was the media, because a lot of times when media works and speaks against you, that can actually build your numbers up because of the people's curiosity to see, well, what's all the fuss about? They talking so bad about this, man. I want to go see what it is. So I dismissed the media part. Never stopped it before. I dismissed the protester part because the protesters who were supposedly stopping people from coming in, they didn't stop the other people that were in there. Oh, my bad, they can't stop everybody. But so I disagree with that, and you had law enforcement and security in place that are hired to ensure that no one is caught up in a situation where they came to be a part of that rally and couldn't get in because there was some protesters stopping them. Can't buy that one either. Again, I don't know about the TikTok thing. But as we go into the speech, one of the things that struck me, and hypothetically, if I were a supporter of Trump or a supporter of any candidate, and I want you Trump supporters to walk with me and think rational. Don't be sensitive. Don't be in your feelings. Don't get emotional. I want you to think rational for a second and just answer this question to yourself. If you had a candidate that you were riding with, would you want to see that candidate at a rally just for the probably 80% of the rally, just stroking his own ego and praising himself and talking about how great he is and how great a job he's done. Would you want to hear that? Or would you want to hear somebody who is speaking towards policies that will create positive change in a society and in a country that's unraveling? America is just going to hell. All the walls are crumbling all around us. And you spend very little time speaking about what can be done to improve it. And yeah, I watched the speak. You didn't even wait. Yes, I did. So, would you want a candidate like that? Who just is fueled by cheers and accolades from the people as he insults people? And see, here's what you got to understand about public speaking. In public speaking, there are certain phrases and trigger words and things that you can do to get a rise out of the crowd, especially if it's a crowd that supports you. And sometimes those things that you can say and do have no substance. They're not rooted in any substance. It's just something you can say to rile up the masses of the people who rock with you. So at one point in the speech, he referred to somebody as a son of a bitch, and the whole crowd just wah, because he insulted somebody, because he said son of a bitch, and that just. But there's no substance in there. What are you saying? We can't be. I'm saying it's hard for me to believe that people are that gullible. I want to hear about what you're gonna do or what you think you can do to save America, if that's your guy. See? So it would be like a rapper who came up out of a certain city, neighborhood, or condition, and he rose to fame and riches, and the people who are still where he comes from, they're still struggling. They're still going through hard times, or the condition of the world is still in a tough place, and he's making records talking about his rings and his jewelry and his money and his cars and his women and all the things that he does, his drugs, and we don't want to hear that. You see what I'm saying? We want to hear you talk about the time. You're not in line with the time if your only goal is to speak in a childish manner, holding one of the highest offices in the world, just to insult people and just to prove to the media that that you were holding water with two hands because you didn't want to waste it on your tie, or the reason why you walked down a ramp slow. You're trying to prove to the media why you did these things. I mean, for a ridiculous amount of time. You touched on it for a minute or so. Okay, that's fine. He talked about the ramp thing for about 8 minutes or more. Talked about the water thing way too long. Who cares? Who cares? I watched the footage of him walking down the ramp, and I was one of the people who looked at it, and I was like, nah, I understand why he walked down the ramp the way he did. Because we all been in that situation where you walking on an unstable whatever, and there's people around, and you're like, man, I'm not about to fall in front of these people and embarrass myself. So you kind of walk a little, you measure your steps. I didn't gather from him when he was walking down the ramp that he was walking down the ramp because he was sick or he was suffering from some kind of condition. Nah, he didn't want to fall. But why do you have to justify that to the media? And why do you have to do it for 10 minutes? See? You have to be reflective of the office that you hold, the position that you hold. And that requires a certain level of maturity and not sensitivity to what people say and people's perception of you. But in a lot of times, people get insecure because that perception people have is actually true when they feel like they're being exposed. So America's falling. The Democrats can't save it. The Republicans can't save it. And nobody in between can save it. So let me know what y'all think and holler at your homie, man. Peace.